nakapaglalabas sila ng opisyal na listahan ng mga kandidato para sa iba't ibang posisyon. Pero alam nyo ba, may kaagibat pa lang pagbubuwis o taxation ang pagiging kandidato. Para pag-usapan ito, makakasama natin si Ardo Charlito Samson. Okay, mas tawag ko sa kanya, Sir Charlie. Assistant Revenue District Officer ng Bureau of Internal Revenue, Region 1, Revenue District number 5 ng Alumino City, Pangasinan. At nandiyan na po ba ang ating panauhin? Si Sir Charlie, Ardo Charlie. Yan po, sayang nga po sa panahon ng election. Akala ko kapag good morning. Ayan na po. Ayan. Good morning po, Ardo Charlie.
Opo. Good morning, Ma'am Hilda, Doc, Hilda Ong, and good morning to all listeners nationwide. This is Charlie, Ardo Charlito Samson of Revenue, Assistant Revenue District Officer, RDO number 5, Alaminos, Pangasinan. I would like to discuss matters on the Bureau of Internal Revenue in line with the tax awareness program of the Bureau of Internal Revenue regarding the RMC 31-2019 reiteration of the Bureau of Internal Revenue regarding the RMC 31-2019 reiteration of tax compliance requirements of candidates, political parties, party list groups, and campaign contributors, because it is time now to disseminate this RMC because it is time for election next year. So plenty of candidates, party lists are involved in these activities. So for purposes of registration in the Bureau of Internal Revenue, the top management of BIR prepared this RMC 31-2019 in relation to RMC 38-2019, because we believe that politicians, party lists are considered professionals. So being professionals, they are required by law to register as taxpayers under political and the professional types. So the PSIC code is there is a special code for this. And for ITS purposes, we have the 7511 General Overall Public Service Activities. So all candidates are political parties, list groups, contributors have the duty to register, updates their registration with the RDO, having jurisdiction over the residence, address, or head principal office of registering candidates, political parties, list groups, and campaign contributors under following these guidelines, RMC number 38-2018. The second activity is they have to comply with the annual registration fee and certificate of registration. All candidates and political parties list shall pay annual registration fee for ERF in the amount of 500 pesos. This is but no longer required to issue COR, Certificate of Registration, because they are not engaged in business. So they are still covered also for the registration of books. Political parties, party list groups shall register, keep adequate books and other accounting records such as cash receipts, journals, and for the statement of contributions or submitted to the COMELEC, cash disbursement book for purposes of statement expenditures submitted to the COMELEC. Individuals, candidates may opt to use simplified set of bookkeeping records as long as it can provide accurate information. For invoicing requirements, all candidates and political party list group shall also register non-VAT official receipt or OR to be issued for every contribution received, whether in cash or in kind, valued at fair market value. And of course, all political party list groups and candidates shall also be responsible for the preservation of records of contributions and expenditures together with all pertinent documents for a period of 3 years from the close of the taxable year during which the election was held. Income payments made by political candidates and political party list groups on their purchases of goods, services as campaign expenditures, and income payments made by individuals of juridical person for their purchases of goods and services intended to be given as campaign contribution to the political parties shall be subject to 5% readable withholding tax under BIR Form 2307. For tax treatment of campaign contributions, only those donations, contributions that have been utilized, spent during the campaign period as set by COMELEC are exempt from donor's tax. Donations utilized before or after the campaign period are subject to donor tax and not deductible as political contribution on the part of the donor. For income tax purposes, unutilized or excess campaign funds, net of candidates or political parties' campaign expenditures shall be subject or considered as tax, subject to income tax, and such must be indeed
Yes
taxable.
po, Idol Charlie.
Yes, ma'am.
Para ba sa maintindihan po ng ating mga tagapakinig at sa mga nanonood, pakikumpirma kung tama o mali, hindi libre ang pagtakbo sa anumang posisyon sa pamalaan. At yun nga po ba, nabanggit mo, basta once na nag-file sila sa COMELEC,
Yes, ma'am.
subject to tax na ba? Kailan sila magbabayad kaagad ng tax once na nag-file? Pero yung nabanggit mo kanina, na magbabayad muna sila ng 500 pesos sa BIR. Tapos ito pa ibibigay nila sa COMELEC?
Yes, ma'am. Upon filing of the certificate of candidacy, yes, ma'am. They are required to register to the BIR. Political parties, individuals will submit to the RDO having jurisdiction over the head or head office, principal office, duly accomplished BIR Form 1903, and together with COC from the Commission on Election, COMELEC, as attachments po.
So, ibig sabihin, Argo Charlie, nung October 1 hanggang October 8, yung mga kandidato na nag-file ng kanilang candidacy, yung COC nila, dapat naka-attach sa ang binayaran nila sa BIR o pwede after ng filing tapos sila pupunta sa BIR?
After filing of COC from the COMELEC, ma'am, the procedure is duly accomplished BIR for individual candidates, duly accomplished BIR Form 1901, identification issued by the authorized government body, birth certificate, passport, driver's license, name, address, and birth certificate of the applicant. Certificate of candidacy, COC from the COMELEC. Yan ang mga attachment po, ma'am, to submit to the BIR having jurisdiction over their address of the candidates po. And then register and tag the candidates in ITS with the following. So, as individual, they are considered professional. Politician. Ang special po niya is politician po, ma'am. For PSOC code, we have 7511 or General Public Service Activities ang category niya po.
Mm-mm. Sir, Ardo Charlie, ano
Yes,
naman po ang nilalaman ng RMC number 31-2019?
Yung RMC 31-19, ito yung current RMC requiring all political all individual candidates, party lists to register and comply with the registration, annual registration fee, the registration books, the invoicing requirements. They are all listed under RMC 31-2019. And the detail is in relation to 38-2018 RMC for purposes of the tax type, how the category of politicians to be registered in the ITS in the computer of the BIR.
Sir, Ardo Charlie,
Yes, ma'am.
what if kung isang kandidato na nag-file, pero wala silang asset, as in walang-wala, basta gusto lang niya mag-file dahil siya ay Filipino citizen, siya ay natural born, siya ay legal age. So, yun lang po, pwede na po siya. Pero, pagdating sa pera, pagdating po sa pinag-aralan, siyempre, may iba kulang. So, yun lang, basta mag-file lang sila ng buwis sa BIR, okay na yon.
Yes, ma'am. As I have said before, that as long as they are candidates to the election and they have filed their certificate of candidacy, they are required by law under this RMC 38-2018 to accomplish 1901, bring their birth certificate or passport, if any, driver's license, as shown in the name, address, and birth. Then attach the certificate of candidacy.
Pero pakiulit po, ano kailangan po i-attach? Birth certificate?
Birth certificate of candidate, if they have no birth certificate, passport, or driver's license, shown the name, address, and birth date. And then attach the COC or certificate of candidacy from COMELEC, attaching to the and accomplish the 1901 form of the BIR.
Okay. So, ibig sabihin, magpapile lang sila ng birth certificate at any form of government ID.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And ano naman ang meron nilalaman ng RMC 38-2018?
Yung 38-2018 po, ma'am, yun yung guidelines na how to register to the BIR. Yun yung hinango, yung sinabi ko kanina na case 1901, the birth certificate, the passport, etc., and attach the CVC. And then, as a taxpayer, they are tagged under the ITS or computerized system with the following: the tax type, they are covered by professional, and special code as politician, the PSIC code under 7511, and so forth and so on. And then the parties, including the political parties, the party list groups, the campaign contributors, they are covered under this 38-2018 po. They can visit this RMC through BIR.gov.ph and the website po for their reference.
At as Ardo Charlie, kailan, ibig sabihin kailan nagsisimula yung pagbabalik ng voice ng isang kandidato o kanyang partido?
Of course, since the election is ongoing, once they are already registered with the BIR, then they have to comply and monitor all those expenditures, income, or the fund received from the donors, etc., for purposes of compliance in this RMC Puma.
Teka, ano ko lang ang technician. Dahil po, paki-ayos na po ang sound dito po sa akin kasi wala pong audio dito sa akin. Pero sa radyo, okay lang po ang audio ng radyo. At sir, kung sakali po, kapag sila, yung pagbabayad po nila ng buwis, ito po ba kapag sila ay nag-start ng kampanya, tapos ikaw nga gumagastos sila ng kanilang tarpaulin, pamibigay ng t-shirt, at marami pang iba. So, kailangan po ba din po ba, sir, na tawag dito, yung kinikwenta din po ba ng BIR yung kanilang ginagastos?
Yes, ma'am. On the part of the recipient, the candidate, they have to record all donations, cash or in kind, to the appropriate books of accounts registered in the BIR, as mentioned under RMC 31-2019. Yes. And
so, paano po certain candidate, certain position, at may kanyang, meron ba kayong certain bracket kung how much po ba ang na binabayaran nila buwis o binibigyan kayo ng COMELEC na certain amount lang ang allowed sa isang kandidato na ganito lang pwede nilang gastusin?
Yung rates po, BIR internal revenue tax rates po, ma'am, is still covered generally under the internal revenue code on rates on withholding taxes under category. There is no specific amounts or threshold with respect to the amounts received or paid to the candidates po, ma'am. So it's still covered on regular rates of pursuant to all the rates of internal revenue taxes po, ma'am.
Pero paano po nalalaman ng BIR kung sila po ay talagang nagko-comply, nagbabayad ng buwis?
In fact, ma'am, for purposes of this monitoring, all BIR district offices nationwide, they are going to require documents from local COMELEC, municipal COMELEC, or provincial COMELEC offices to determine who are the individual candidates. They have filed their certificate of candidacy to comply with this RMC 31-2019 and 38-2018. So we have to seek listings from the COMELEC, municipal COMELEC, provincial COMELEC, and national COMELEC in Intramuros for purposes of this compliance po, ma'am.
At sir, Charlie, so yes, kapag sa mga local, let's say sa inyong lugar dito po sa Alaminos, Pangasinan, yes, so doon sila magpa-file sa inyo kung local.
Yes, ma'am.
What if kung mga national, yung mga tumatakbong presidente, mga senador, kasi congressman depende sa kanya-kanyang distrito pero yung mga party list, saan po sila saan BIR sila magpa-file?
Magpa-file sila, ma'am, kung saan ang office nila or address nila having jurisdiction over their BIR district, having jurisdiction over their residential address, or if they have parties or head office of the party, and so forth and so on, ma'am.
So, ibig sabihin, kapag sila ay tatakbo ng senador o kaya presidente, meron sila mga headquarters. So, based po kung saan ang headquarters nila, yun ang magiging distrito nila sa pagbayad ng buwis sa BIR. Tama po ba yun?
Yes, ma'am. Kung yung party list nila ay galing sa Manila, Intramuros, sa Manila District, Intramuros sila pupunta. Kung sa Quezon City, for such compliance under this RMC po, ma'am.
At sa mga nanonood po ng YouTube, sa Facebook, pasensya na po kasi sa mga nakikinig sa radyo o sa mismong FB Live ng DWBL na yung kumbaga napapakinggan po din yung interview ko po. Pero dito sa FB Live ko po, dito sa YouTube, itong problema, wala talagang sound. ang gagawin ko after the program, saka ko na lang i-upload ulit. Kasi pasensya na po, talagang wala akong audio. At Ardo Charlie,
Yes,
at
ma'am.
kapag let's say, kapag matalo ang isang kandidato, subject to tax pa rin po ba sila? Kasi siyempre gumastos sila sa sabi ko sa ads, sa mga sabi natin sa mga yun nga nabanggit ko, kadalasan mga t-shirt, mga cup, at kung ano mga souvenirs na pinamimigay nila. Kapag sila po ay natalo, subject to tax pa rin po ba sila?
Ang requirements po ng BIR po, ma'am, manalo o matalo, or as long as there exists fund over the disbursement, that is subject to income tax. And other income payments made to other people or parties are still subject to appropriate withholding tax po, ma'am.
So ibig sabihin po, kapag yung kumbaga bracket na binibigay po ng COMELEC sa kanila, kasi ikaw, tatakbo ka bilang senador, you're allowed to spend only, sabi natin, 1 million kasi hindi ko kabisado ang rate nila. Sabi natin, 1 million. So, doon lang talaga sila mag-i-stake yung gastos. Doon kayo naka-stake din ang BIR na kung sinabi ng COMELEC per candidate, 1 million. So, ang pag-base po ninyo ng tax ay doon sa base din po sa binigay ng BI, ng COMELEC.
Yes po, ma'am. Ang tax exposure nila dyan is the excess amount of income or received over the disbursement they have made during the campaign period that is still exposed to income tax po, ma'am.
At Sir Charlie, at that's it. Dapat ang unang-una ang babayaran nila, may isa sinabi mo kanina is 500 pesos muna.
Registration fee.
And the registration fee. Tapos yung ibang babayaran nila after the election.
Yes po, ma'am. Yung income tax yung after the election. Pero
so for the meantime, 500 pesos lang.
Along the way, ma'am, if during the campaign there are expenses or disbursement made to other people, that is still subject to withholding tax for purposes of monitoring of withholding tax, because that is income payment made to other people because they are recipient of such amounts or funds from other definite sources, and they pay it to other payees, different payees, then that is still subject to withholding tax, regular withholding tax po.
What if Ardo Charlie, kapag hindi po sila nag-file, hindi sila nagbayad ng 500 registration fee, up to the time na yun na nga nangangampad niya na sila, ano gagawin ng BIR sa kanila?
If after election, they're going to submit the list of income expenditures to the COMELEC, and then that's the time we could determine if there are failures on the part of their candidate to withhold for the income payments made to other people, or if they fail to pay income tax after the election. That is, we could determine that after the election po, ma'am, after the statements have been submitted to the COMELEC. Because they are required by law to submit all the necessary books of accounts and official receipts for purposes of monitoring the income received by them and the corresponding payments or expenditures made to other people.
So, ibig sabihin, kapag after the election, sabi natin matapos ang election at nanalo yung candidate, ito po ba ay magiging isang ground na siya po ay ma-disqualified as nanalong kandidato?
I think the issuances have no mention on that clause po, ma'am. There is no mention as to penalties. But of course, for purposes of BIR, failure on their part to comply with the requirements of RMCs and other tax laws, for purposes of non-compliance, they will receive notice for such failure failure to pay, that's it po. And subject to all penalties as the case may be.
Yes po. Atas, Arthur Charlie, ano pa ba meron pong
Yes, sir.
ano ang mga meron po dapat malaman po ng ating mga taxpayer at dapat po siyempre bigyan natin ng gabay ang ating mga politicians sa tumatakbo ngayon na sana ang katulad po yung yung pagtamang pagbayad ng buwis at siyempre po sa panahon ng pandemic. So far po, kamusta po ang collection po dyan po sa Alaminos, Pangasinan?
At this point in time, ma'am, medyo hirap kami na mangolekta because of the pandemic. Because, of course, the economy is so low, very slow, and we have to seek for other activities how to collect our goal assigned to our district. So all the necessary activities under the law will be utilized by us in order to collect the taxes and comply with the assigned goal to us.
At ano mensahe po ninyo sa ating tagapakinig kayo, Ardo Charlie?
Ito ang last na hiling ko po sa lahat ng tagapakinig at sa lahat ng mga tao na nakakarinig, lalo na yung mga aspirants na political candidates. Please help us to collect taxes because as a politician, you are required by law, the Internal Revenue Code, to comply with the RMC as mentioned by me under RMC 31-2019 and RMC 38-2018. Para lang tayo ito naman makukolekta natin na ito para sa sambayan ng Pilipino, para sa gobyerno natin po lahat. Ito po ay isang scheme to collect the appropriate tax sa panahon ng election ngayon, lalo-lalo na sa mga aspirants to become officers, elected officials ng Republika ng Pilipinas po.
Mali, ang nakakwentuhan natin ngayong umaga ay si Ardo Charlito Samson, Assistant Revenue District Officer ng Bureau of Internal Revenue dito po sa Revenue Region Number 1, Revenue District Number 5, Alaminos, Pangasinan. Maraming salamat po sa ibinahagi po ninyo dagdag kaalaman po. At syempre po para malaman ng mga nagtumatakbo ngayon na hindi lang basta-basta kayo magpa-file ng candidacy. Syempre meron din po dapat po sila ay may mga buwis na dapat nilang bayaran. Download na po